Hey, this is Karen Liebhaber with Black River Technical College, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about pre-writing. Pre-writing is the first part of the writing process. If you'll notice, there's three parts. There's pre-writing, which is first, drafting, and revising. Now, the issue with the writing process is it's not necessarily linear. You'll start with your pre-writing, which is just coming up with ideas to write about. It's just like being the person who introduces a speaker at graduation or some other conference. So if you go up and you're going to introduce the speaker and you've never heard of them before, you can't really give that person an introduction to the audience because you don't know what to say about them. The same thing's true of your paper. You can't write your paper if you don't know what you're going to say. And the only way to figure out what you're going to say is to think about what you want to say in your paper. So the easiest way to do that is to come up with a few ideas by pre-writing and just listing them out. Now, the pre-writing phase does not have to take a long time. It can take just a few minutes, it can be an hour, it can be 2 minutes, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you get good information to put into your paper and that the information you pick out is fairly related to your topic. The pre-writing stage is usually first. Now, the writing process is not linear. That means you don't pre-write and you're done with it, then go into drafting and write your paper, then revise it and you're finished. What happens is you'll pre-write. Sometimes you'll think of something and you'll start writing about what you just thought of, which will take you to the drafting section. Then you'll go back to pre-writing, come up with some more ideas, maybe write a little bit more, which is your drafting stage, then go back to pre-writing, come up with more ideas. Maybe you'll decide to edit what you've written, which is the third stage, revising. Then you decide you're going to write a little bit more about what you pre-wrote on, so now you're back into drafting again, which is number 2. And then you're going to edit a little bit of what you did, so it just goes back and forth. When you find out that you don't have enough information about your topic and you've written most of your paper, but it's short, what you'll have to do is you'll need to pre-write again and come up with some more ideas. Now, when I say pre-write, you're not necessarily going to be writing a lot of stuff down. You just may be jotting down notes or things that come in your head. That's perfect. That's pre-writing. What matters in the pre-writing process is that you come up with information for your paper and that you add more good detail to your paper. First, let's talk about the types of pre-writing. There's many different types of pre-writing. It doesn't matter. Whatever works for you is fine. For me personally, I like to brainstorm. I like to think of a topic and think of anything related to that topic that I can. So if I'm thinking about eating, then what I might want to talk about is restaurants. I'll think about types of food. Maybe I'm thinking of a certain drink I want. So I'm writing all this down. So I've come up with drinks, restaurants, types of food, fast food, Chinese, Mexican. Then I start coming up with names of restaurants, El Acapulco, Taco Bell. Then I think of Wendy's. I might think of Burger King. And when I think of Burger King, maybe I'm thinking of hamburgers. So I'm going to write hamburgers down. So you just think of whatever comes to your mind. So whatever comes to your mind, you write it down. The thing with pre-writing is when you start editing yourself, you're going to freeze up. So it's like your mind has all of this stuff in the top of it. You're thinking, and it's trying to get out of your mind and onto the paper, but it can't get on the paper if you block it halfway through. So if you start letting only certain ideas through, you're going to start running out of ideas because you're going to edit them out. So instead, just write everything down until you can't think of anything at all. After you're done writing everything down, then you can look at your list and say, you know what? I really don't even like Mexican, so I'm just going to strike anything to do with that. And come to think of it, I don't even want to write about eating. I want to think about drinks. And so I've written down Sonic and Limeade and Dr. Pepper and tea. So maybe that's going to be my topic now. So I'm going to write about those things, and I'm going to ignore everything else I wrote down. So now I've narrowed my topic down a little bit, and I have some ideas to start writing about. You want to pre-write anytime you're going to write something. And again, it may take only a few seconds, it may take a minute, but whenever you pre-write, just grab a sheet of paper. It can be a napkin. What matters is that you get it out of your mind and onto paper. And the next step is you write down your ideas, then you organize them. Maybe you make circles and link them all together like you would if you were clustering. Maybe you'll make categories and put all your information under it. That works out really well. Whatever you do, whatever ideas you've come up with, arrange them so that they're organized and then they can make something useful. The reason you need to pre-write is when you write your paper, you have to figure out what you want to say ahead of time. Let me show you an example. Here's an example of something that I have pre-written. Now notice they're not necessarily spelled correctly. I happen to have typed them, which is completely arbitrary. That doesn't matter whatsoever. I could have handwritten these. But in general, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if I've even spelt it right. What matters is that whatever's in my mind, I get out and I write it on paper. Now that it's on paper and I can't think of a single thing else, now I can work with it. If it was up in my head, that's when we get confused. Write it down on paper so you can see it and work with it clearly. If you think of something else, add it in there. Let's say I just thought of a baked potato. There, added that in, and notice I didn't spell it right, but who cares? It's just for me and nobody else is going to see this. Now notice in this example, I've organized my items. The top row here are my categories of information, and the items under it are the different items. Now if you'll look, I obviously have a lot more drinks than I have of anything else. If I'm writing a paper, let's say I have to make 3 points in it, and remember, 3 points is just a random number. It could be 2 points, it could be 27 points, it doesn't matter. Let's say I'm choosing 2 points here. I have these 2 items are the largest, so it seems like that's kind of where my mind's going, so maybe I need to add some more information here. And whenever I'm pre-writing, I want to try to have the same number of items. Now, if I can think of other things, I'm going to continue to add to it. So for example, like under food items, let me add a little more information to make it more even. Here I've added some more food items. Now over here I might add some more drinks. Okay, now they're fairly close and I can go with this. Now I may decide I'm not going to even mess with the first 2 categories because I just don't have very much information there. I have a lot more in the other items, so obviously I have a lot more to say about these different food items. This is an example of pre-writing. All I'm doing is coming up with information to talk about. With pre-writing, you can do this at any time in the writing stage. And what's really nice is you just jot it down. No one's ever going to see this list, just me. Once I write it all up into an organized outline, then I'm pretty good. That's what pre-writing is. It's nothing to stress out about, but it's an essential part of the writing process.